That one. That one. It's not uploaded quite just yet. Just give it a moment. There it is, fantastic. So the chat's up, the stream's up, we're all good to go, and I can hear myself, which is fantastic. But hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to round 4 of the AM1 Championship here on Contest of Speed. It is time for the Abu Dhabi round of the championship here at Yas Marina Circuit, a 5.5 kilometer, 3.45 mile racetrack with 21 turns. In my opinion, I just find it as the worst designed circuit ever. In my own opinion, this track costs, from what I remember, $1 billion US, which is quite a lot of money for a racetrack. It was designed by Herman Tilke, and it was supposed to be sort of Herman Tilke's Holy Grail racetrack. This was a literal sandbox where he could create his masterpiece, and this is what he came up with. I mean, there are worse racetracks on the calendar, racetracks like Monaco, Singapore, arguably Russia, I guess, where racing doesn't happen too often. But with this, what this track means, how much this track costs, yeah, not great. It's not great at all. But anywho, the racing around here, generally speaking, it's a bit 50-50. It's either very incredibly boring or it's a drama fest. It's either one of the two. It's never sort of in between around here at Yas Marina. A couple of key parts of the racetrack. Drivers are heading up to it now. It's turn 8. Probably the most prominent overtaking spot on the entire racetrack is going through turn 8. Rest of the track is pretty much follow the leader stuff. You can kind of get the job done into turn 11, but other than that, yeah, not much to the racetrack. Follow the car in front, don't do anything stupid. Try not to crash as well. I've noticed a few occasions around here, particularly going underneath the hotel, which is the most iconic part of the racetrack. Through here, turn 19, I've seen quite a few incidents in my time as a commentator and as a driver as well. So still, a few places to look out for, but we're sort of just praying for a nice race tonight. But we're right on board with JD TV8. We'll go on a guided tour of this 5.6 kilometer racetrack around turn 1, 5th gear, 6th gear, up the hill through turn 2, round turn 3. A very nice complex this, and nice amount of elevation change, some really fast high-speed corners into the chicane of turns 5, 6, and then into the hairpin of turn 7, the slowest corner on the racetrack. First gear, you're crawling around there. You see short shifting to 3rd, so then he minimizes wheel spin. Very, very important to get the traction zone right and maximize the top speed here on this incredibly long straight. Heading towards turn 8, hard on the brakes at the 100-meter board. Go down to 2nd gear, takes the first curve quite nicely at turn 8, through turn 9. Doesn't cut too much there. I've seen a lot of drivers really abuse that curve on the inside there. Try and open up the corner as much as they can. Heading up to turn 11, another heavy braking zone, hard on the brakes. Around turn 11, into turns 12, then 13, then into turn 14. Now we're following along the harbour. You can see the incredibly expensive yachts on the side. Heading into turn 17, which in my opinion is the tightest 90-degree corner in the sport, underneath a hotel at turns 18 and 19. Now towards turns 20 and 21. Now at turn 20, it's quite brutal with track limits, particularly on the outside. Around the final corner, turn 21, with the leaking bladder of elevation change on the exit. And JD does a 1 minute 34.443. Now he did that on a set of mediums. Nicholas blitzes that time with a 1 minute 33.708. Alp replies with a 1 minute 32.632. That is quite a bit quicker than Nicholas, to say the least. That is just over a second quicker on the same set of tyres. Oh boy. KD, driver subbing in for SWM Bean for this weekend. He is currently sitting in second place in front of Nicholas by a bit over a tenth of a second. Amram in P5 with a 34.6. Swarner with a 34.7. Stone Towel on a flying lap on a set of mediums. Bursey, oh my word, there's a few cars here as Lopez has crashed just before the final corner. He is out of qualifying. Let's see if we can't see what's happened here. We'll have to go with his teammate Bodhod. Just drove past then. But dearie me, there he is. Oh my word! How did his car end up there? That's a pit entry. That is blocking pit entry. As United Bosnia jumps up to 5th place with a 34.5. But that okay, I don't know how he would have done that. I guess an educated guess is that he spun out, hit the inside barrier, and the car then jumped back onto the racetrack. An educated guess, but I'm not 100% certain on that. Bursey is just about to finish a flying lap as well. Around the final corner, crossing the line to do a 34.2. Jumps up to 4th place. Enrique elected to go into the pits. Bodhod on a flying lap around turn 9. Wingett's done a 34.8. He's only a bit under a tenth of a second behind Schwarner, so it's fairly close here at Yas Marina, which is good to see. Bodhod making his way through this tight technical part of the racetrack around turn 14. Now he's got a Williams just behind. That is Lunacy. He's on an outlap. Around the harbour into turn 17. We'll go underneath the hotel here. And I think he just may have pulled out of the lap. No, he's still pushing on. It just sounded like from the engine note that he might have pulled out, but no, he's still going. Round the final corner, up to the line, it's a 1:34.6. Goes to 9th place with that time. Peyton on a flying lap, coming around turn 7, heading down the long back straight towards turn 8. Watch the speedo climb up and over 320 kilometers an hour, 325 kilometers an hour. Hard on the brakes at 328, incredibly fast into there. Nice and gentle on the exit, not pushing the car too hard. There's still plenty of time left in the session to try and improve and push the limits. Right now it's just about getting your head down, just setting good consistent lap times. Cutting the racetrack quite nicely there. He was quite fortunate that he didn't get an invalidation. He was pushing the limits there. Round the harbour into 17. Takes it quite nicely, actually. He's hitting his marks pretty well here. Underneath the hotel. Now the final 2 corners of the racetrack. Turns 20. Didn't cut too much there. You could probably afford to cut that a little more to try and find a little bit of time. So 135 flat. There's P14. But again, there's plenty of time left in the session to try and improve. Speaking of plenty of time, we might have just a quick chat about the championship because we're nearing the halfway stage of the championship, so it's really starting to hot up. The contest towards the front is starting to develop. We've got COS Nicholas currently leading the championship on 61 points, with Arba, the man on screen right now, in second on 42 points. He is 19 behind Nick, which is quite a big margin considering the championship is only 11 rounds. So Nick needs basically a bad race in some period of time from here to the end of the season in order to bring the championship back to someone like Arba or the guy in third place in the championships, SWM Bean, back into the fight. Although Bean, he's not here for tonight's race, so that's a massive absence for the sake of the Drivers' Championship. Lopez is currently 4th on 35 points, with Enrique in the Mercedes-Benz on 30. I think SWM Alp is the next car In 6th, he's on 17 points. He's a long, long way behind, but we know how quick Alp is. He just needs a good race, good series of races, and then he can jump back up into the championship fight. But at the moment, it is Nick with a comfortable margin at the top of the table. We have a close battle between Arba and Bean in 2nd, and it's pretty close between Lopez and Fenrique as well. In the Constructors' Championship, because Nick and Bean are on the same team, it means Red Bull Racing are head and shoulders above the field. They're on 101 points. Renault are in 2nd on 54. Yeah, it's quite a big margin, so it's going to be quite difficult for any team to try and dislodge Red Bull Racing at the top of the Constructors' standings. I think one of the few teams who are probably capable of doing it is the Mercedes crew of Alp and Fenrique. But that is sort of the championship scenario right now. Fortunately, we're hitting about 7.5 minutes left in the session, so drivers will be preparing themselves to do at least 1 or 2 more flying laps in this session. Drivers have to be quite careful around here because the track is quite long. As you can see, it's a 90-second lap in qualifying trim. So the out lap and the in lap are very, very long, and it can catch you out. And I think, like in many other leagues, there are very strict rules to how much you can cut the racetrack, particularly in qualifying. You can't just go up to the chicane at turns 5 and 6 and just cut it to pieces. You have to be very careful in regards to that. You just better hope that nobody catches you in the act. But generally speaking, it's something that you shouldn't do, but I understand why people do it. But SWM Alp on a flying lap. He's currently purple in the first sector. See what he can do over the course of the rest of the lap. He's currently setting pretty at the top of the table with a 132.6. We'll see what he can do in this second sector. There's not too much of it. It's basically these 2 corners you more or less have to deal with. This will dictate the entire sector. Gets a pretty good run through here, and there's Kitten Petter just in front. He's on a flying lap, so if Alp catches up too much, he may be impeded by the McLaren a little bit, and the McLaren is fully entitled to stay on the racing line so long as he's on a flying lap, not on an in lap. But Alp is just a little bit down in the second sector, but this is where all the time is gained or lost in this technical third sector. There's a lot of corners you have to worry about here. It's very easy to make a mistake, lose time, or even worse, invalidate your lap. Going underneath the hotel, underneath the Aramco signage there. And here we go. There's Kitten Petter just in front, and he pulls off out of the way. Oh, and that's pretty brutal, not going to lie. And that was going to be 2/10 off anyway, so he was slower. That is pretty brutal, I'm not going to lie. I didn't think he crossed over the white line there with these 2 inside tyres, but apparently he did. So looked to me from that camera view that he looked okay, but of course if we probably switch to an outboard shot, he did indeed have all 4 tyres over the white line. There's also another reserve driver that I failed to mention, Timmy Where To Next. That is quite a unique username, if ever I saw one. He's replacing Anth in the Ferrari squad for tonight's race. He's currently P7 with a 133.8. And as you can also see, the entirety of the top 10 have set times on the soft compound tyre. No one in the top 10 has set a time on the mediums. Well, is in the top 10 setting a lap on the medium. Anyway. But it appears as if these guys are pretty content starting on the soft tyre. Now, I did a little bit of research just prior to this race on what the game suggests as the sort of tyre life for each compound. For the soft tyre, it's about 13 laps, which isn't particularly long. And I know from previous experiences, the soft tyre burns up pretty quickly around here. The medium tyre can last about 18 laps and the hard tyre 22. So it's about a 4 to 5 lap increase every time you go up compounds. Pace difference, though, is quite dramatic. From soft to mediums, it is a gap of 0.7 of a second. It's quite a bit per lap, and that's just initially. That's initial pace. It's 0.7 a lap, and the hard tyre initially, compared to the soft compound, is a ginormous 2 seconds a lap slower. than the soft compound. So the hard tyre isn't a particularly great tyre around here, and I know that as well of previous experiences as well. The hard compound is a bit, how you going, I think is a polite way of putting it. But, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of strategies people decide to go with. Do people elect to go with a sort of medium to hard strat, soft to hard strat, or perhaps I have seen people do a two-stop. Though the pit lane is quite long around here, but that hard tyre is quite a bit slower than both the mediums and the softs, so it may work. We'll just have to wait and see. But now with 3 minutes left in the session, this is the important part of qualifying. Drivers will be preparing themselves to absolutely send it around here. It's going to be a do or die contest towards the top of the table. And Nicholas on an outlap. Where is he? He's coming through the second sector. That's the beginning of the second sector. Arba's in the middle of the second sector. Schwarner, he might be the first driver to try and set a flying lap here in the dying minutes of qualifying. We're right on board with the McLaren driver. Why not? He's currently P6. It's pretty solid for McLaren. P6 and 7 at the moment. Both cars in the 10. Round turn 1, into turn 2, up the hill, round turn 3 now. 7th gear. I have noticed from previous experiences as well, that inside curb at turn 3 is pretty brutal. If you take too much of it and you put in too much steering input, the car can spin out. And then you'll have a meet and greet with one of the Armco barriers lining the racetrack, and that's not a nice thing, in all honesty. And Schwarner, he's gaining on his teammate here. He's going to get a cheeky little slipstream here. Into turn 8, hard on the brakes. Maybe missed the apex a little bit, but not by a lot. Now on the second back straight, I suppose is a way of calling it. Into turn 11, well, back straight in quotation marks, because it's definitely not straight, and he's up by 0.04 of a second, making his way around turn 14 and into the complex third sector. Nicholas has just begun his lap, same with Arba, so we'll go to those two gentlemen in just a moment. But Schwarner underneath the hotel. Payton has retired from the session in the pit lane. He feels he cannot improve from P12 with a 134.1. Around the final two corners comes Schwarner. Let's see what he can do. Can he improve? He does, but only by 25 thousandths of a second. It's not a lot. Arba making his way through turn 8, currently 4th with a 33.2. Nicholas 2nd with a 33.1. 1/10 of a second separating P2 to P4. And then there's Alp with a 32.6. He is well clear of the field at the moment. Let's see what his sector 1 says. He's down by 0.06 of a second. He's got a car in front. That is his teammate. Oh, this is some brilliant teamwork here from the Mercedes crew. Alp is going to get a sneaky tow here down this long straightaway just before turn 8. This is going to be a massive help from Fenrique. And he pulls off to the side at the very last minute. Hard on the brakes goes Alp. And he makes it around turn 8. Through turn 9. He was very close to invalidating then. Oh, and someone's in the wall. It's Nicholas. Wait, no, he's not in the wall. He's just come to a stop. Now, why has he done that? He hasn't invalidated. He must have made a mistake. Arba's session is done. He's only improved by 0.04 of a second. KD's invalidated, so he won't be improving. So what can Alp do? This will be a very quick lap time, I'm sure. With that tow down the back straight towards turn 8. He just needs to nail this final sector. Now coming up to the final two corners on the racetrack. Turn 20 is quite deadly. Negotiates it well. Now the final turn. What is this time going to look like? 30, 31, 32, 3. He improves by 0.3 of a second. An awesome lap time from out there. He is just under 0.8 clear of COS Nicholas in P2. That is some margin and a statement indeed. And although Nicholas is leading the championship, there is one man who can still keep up with the Canadian. And then some. That is a big margin indeed. Look at that. Just over 7.5 tenths of a second. Then KD in P3, R-Bar in P4. 1 second separates the top 5. That is quite big in such a sort of top tier class like AM1. Rest of the field though is pretty close together. From P2 down to P18 is 1.3 seconds. That's not a lot. It just shows you how quick Alp is around this racetrack. But we'll get the official results in just a moment. There we go. Outside the top 5 we have Bosnia in P6, Warner in P7, Timmy the reserve driver in P8 with wing damage as well. Kitten Petter in P9, and Amram rounds out the top 10, so both Ferraris start in the 10. There we go, qualifying done and dusted. I agree, Bean. The track limits here are shocking. Particularly at the second to last corner. That's easily the worst part of the racetrack when it comes to track limits. By far and away. But there we go, qualifying done. We've gone through the top 5. Bosnia 6, Warner 7, Timmy in 8th, Kitten in 9th, Amram in 10th. Bursey in P11, Wingard in 12th, Mitch Burns in 13th, Bodhod in 14th, P. Payton in 15th, Lunacy in 16th, JD in 17th, the Stone Towel in 18th, and Lopez starting at the back of the field after crashing out in qualifying. He'll be starting from 19th with a lot of work to do. However, this man found himself in a similar situation in the first round at Spa-Francorchamps. He ended up winning the race. Granted, it was one of the most chaotic starts to a season I have ever seen, and one of the most chaotic races I have ever seen around the Belgian racetrack. So, in order for Lopez to get himself back up the field and recreate what he did at Spa, we might need a safety car or two and a bit of luck in his favour. A bit like what happened at Spa. But still, it was a fine drive. He kept out of trouble and he still took the win. So, it'll be interesting to see what Lopez can do. And also, I believe he's on a wheel for the first time, if I read the chat correctly. Which is a pretty big moment, I imagine, in any sim racer's career, going from a pad to a wheel. I don't know what it would be like around here at Yas Marina, though. I would think Yas Marina... Would it be a pad circuit, not a wheel circuit? I think it would be a pad. Typically with a wheel circuit, it's got a lot of high-speed bends. Suzuka, Kota, Silverstone, great examples of that. You know, high-speed bends where those sort of fine movements you can make with the mill, you just can't do that with a pad. But, yeah, if I remember reading the Discord chat correctly, I think this might be his first race on a wheel. So, good luck to him in regards to that. Now drivers setting off on the formation lap. We'll get to have a look at who's on what tyre for this race. Well, for the start of this race. And looking outside the top 10, we got an interesting mix of cars. We'll go with that. Bursey in P11, starting on a set of mediums. He's got Wingett alongside, starting on the soft. Same with Mitch Burns in 13th place. Bodhod starting on the medium, same with Peter Payton, Lunacy, JD, and the Stone Towel. At the back of the field, Lopez, he is starting on a set of softs. That's going to be an interesting call here from Lopez. His plan is to try and make up as many positions off the start as he humanly can, and perhaps pray a safety car works in his favour as well. Wheel track just slightly? I don't know. Because you got that high speed first section. Honestly, you could toss a coin. I reckon they would be pretty even in the end, after thinking about it. But yeah, still. Wouldn't be surprised to see Lopez in the top 5. Knowing how this man operates, he just gets results every now and then, doesn't he? He just keeps out of trouble, makes moves when he needs to, and he just finds himself in the top 10 scoring points. It's the reason why he's currently 4th in the Drivers' Championship at the moment. And if he has a bit of luck his way, I wouldn't be surprised if we find him in the top 5 either, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Though off qualifying, I wouldn't be surprised if this man walks away with it. That was one hell of a lap time from Alp. Very quick indeed. I don't quite know if anyone will have any response to this pace that Alp has. To be 7.5 tenths clear in qualifying, that is some message. So this might be a race for second place for us tonight. But hopefully the racing is still good. Hopefully. This is Yas Marina after all. But Lopez, you can see in the background there, he's lining up into his grid slot. And then the 28 laps of this race will get underway. Game is saving, we're all good to go. But here we go at Yas Marina. We have 5 red lights, and it's lights out. And away we go. Alp gets a pretty average start, actually. He's going to get overtaken by Nick into turn 1. Drivers go through turn 1 side by side. A bit of contact there between the Red Bull and the Renault. But everyone appears to have gotten through relatively okay. No massive incidents from what I can see here. Oh, that's some pretty close action there between those 3 gentlemen going through turn 3. Some more side-by-side slap. Oh, and a braking board being destroyed there. That was JD knocking over the 50 board going into turn 5, sort of pushed off the racetrack. Guess he had absolutely nowhere to go. Still, we have some side-by-side stuff going on here on the back straight. A Ram in 9th place holding up Kitten Petter as he looks to the inside, and here comes Bodhod. He's got a run here down the inside into turn 8. Can he make this stick? They go through side by side. Bodhod around the outside at turn 9, and he gets it done. The traction on the racing line proved to be the key part in that move. He's now into the top 10. Lunacy overtaking Kitten Petter now. This is for P12, and he's got that done as well. So a shocking start there from Alp. On the racing line, he's on the same tyre as Nicholas, but Nicholas absolutely nailed it. He's not going to let Alp just walk away with this one, though he did miss the apex there at turn 19. Oh, and breaking the board there at the 50 board at turn 20. I'm not a fan when those boards are broken because I race without racing line. And you kind of need those boards to brake accurately and competitively. You can make, oh, as Nicholas runs wide there at turn 1, you can make pretty good educated guesses of where to brake without racing line. But to do it accurately and consistently, it's a very difficult task. So please don't destroy the boards. Fellas, don't destroy too many more, because I'm sure there are plenty of drivers in here who aren't using racing line that would just find those sort of boards being broken being a little bit annoying to deal with in the race. Mitch Burns in the pit, so he must have got damage off the first lap. He's got a set of mediums on his car right now, and he's a long way behind the pack, but there's still a lot of racing to take place. Alp right in behind Nick here. Using overtake, he is gaining quite a bit on the Red Bull. The Red Bull defends into turn 11. Let's see what happens here. They're side by side. Round turn 12 into 13. Nicholas isn't giving up here, and he retains the lead from Alp's attack. You see there Alp trying to go around the outside. He would have had the inside for turn 12, but he would then have the outside for 13, and because of that, Nicholas holds on to the lead. And he's keeping this lead group pretty close together, this battle between these two. KD in 3rd place, Arbar in 4th, Enrique in 5th. A bit of a gap to Bosnia in P6, but he's still within a second of the Mercedes-Benz. Warner in P7, Timmy in P8. As who sets fastest lap? As someone has a massive slide there at the exit. I think that was Amram. There's a bit of a slide there at the exit of turn 21. But who set fastest lap? Because a few people set one then. Let's have a look. It was United Bosnia in the end with a 38.4. Coming through the second sector, the beginning of the second sector. And Alp will be going for an attack here. Using DRS, he'll pull to the inside. No, he won't. He'll back off the throttle. He doesn't want to go for an overtake just yet. Interesting. Or maybe a little bump there. I'm not sure if Nicholas lost that by himself. I think there might have been just a little bit of a bump. Just, you know, a little bit. Not too much. Look, looking around the long way into turn 11. It's a repeat of the last lap. Can Nicholas hold it there? No, he can't. Nick can't hold it. Alp takes the lead away from COS Nicholas. I'm sure Nicholas isn't done yet with Alp. Applying pressure, Alp having to defend into 17, which compromises his run here through the third sector. That narrow line through 17, it costs you into turns 18 and 19 as well. Around the final two corners, that was an awkward moment there from Nicholas. Sideways at the exit there, and sideways again a little bit there as well, as Bodhod gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Around turn 1. Now Alp's goal will be trying to try and pull away, though with the power of DRS on this racetrack you might find that quite difficult to do. All that Nicholas needs to do is just stay within 1 second of Alp and continue to apply pressure. Not too much action elsewhere it seems. Wingett is on the back of Bodhod, but all of these cars have DRS, so I don't suspect there's going to be a move made, although Wingett is gaining. Will he go for the big boy send? No, he won't. He'll be a smart man here. Race isn't won here, it's won on the final lap. Though he's going to have a move here as Nicholas retakes the lead and R-Bar overtakes KD, although KD counterattacks. Ooh, there's a bit of action here between these guys as well. So it appears Nicholas has returned the favour to Alp here. Retaking the lead. Alp probably going to do the same thing to Nicholas on the next lap. KD and R-Bar having a bit of a scrap. Thank goodness the two in front are battling, keeping these guys in contention towards the front. I have a feeling if they didn't race each other so hard, Nicholas and Alp, they might be able to pull away from these guys, but at the moment they're battling pretty hard for the lead. It's good to watch though. Kittenpetto into the pits. Lap 4. What's the McLaren driver up to? Is it a wing change? Is this a scheduled stop? It's a scheduled stop onto a set of mediums, so I believe Kittenpetto will be doing a 2-stop race here. I'm not sure if he's doing a soft medium medium or soft medium soft race, but I have a feeling it's going to be a 2-stop. Don't think those mediums can make it to the end. 23 laps. Quite a long time on those mediums. Here comes Alp though. Overtaking Nicholas, retaking the lead. And Nicholas has a bit of a poor run through turns 8 and 9. Look at that gap increase, 6/10. Nicholas, he'll use DRS and overtake as well to close back up on Alp into turn 11, but he's not close enough to attack. Fenrique and United Bosnia attacking each other. KD and R-Bar were also attacking each other. Two Ferraris fairly close together. They're applying pressure to Schwarno and P7. At the moment, we've got some pretty decent racing going on at turns 8 and turn 11. Everywhere else though, as you kind of expect, follow the leader sort of stuff. And into the pits comes Fenrique, and United Bosnia follows suit. Oof. Did he get damage from that? I'm not sure. We'll have a look-see when he pulls into the pits. Oh, but Fenrique has damage. And so does Bosnia, I believe. Yes, that's a front wing change. Number 27. Front wing change onto a set of medium. Same with Fenrique. And here comes Kittenpetto, demonstrating not only the power of the undercut, but how much time you lose when you do a front wing change. Kitten's now in front of both Enrique and Bosnia. Lopez a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. He finds himself well down the order in 15th. Must have made a mistake at some stage that I didn't quite catch, because he hasn't made a pit stop. He's just a long way behind the field, I believe. Just quickly check race director, just briefly. Yes, he hasn't pitted, so he must have made a mistake somewhere. Because, yeah, long way behind the pack. Alp is still leading the way. Nicholas is still following suit. KD is still in third. However, he's got Arba all over the back of him, coming through the third sector. The Renault driver looks very quick at the moment. As Wingett drops through the order, what has happened here? He cuts the racetrack, rejoins fairly safely. Oh, and into the wall. He must have wing damage on his car. He does. Completely destroyed front wing on the right-hand side. He'll be coming into the pits to get that changed. And a few other drivers in. KD is in. Same with Arba. They're making their first pit stop. So it appears that the way to go is a two-stop strategy. Arba and KD leaving the pit lane. They're going to resume their battle underneath the ridiculous underpass that is the pit exit. KD down in 13th place, just demonstrating how long a pit stop is around here at Abu Dhabi. Here comes JD, overtaking his teammate for P8. Lunacy not putting up too much of a fight. Knowing Lunacy, he never really does. He's quite a calm racing driver. Just sort of lets the race happen. Stone Howe currently in P7. As Nicholas around the outside before the braking zone into turn 11 retakes the lead of this Abu Dhabi race. Let's see the brief exchange of position there, if I'm not mistaken. Amram overtaking Timmy for P4. Bodhodge just in behind in P6. So the medium runners clawing their way through the field. The soft runners making their first pit stops. Stone Tower, 3-second time penalty. Is what happened here. A bit of a scrap going on between KD and Arba. Lopez, I believe, got overtaken by them both. But Arba has found a way past KD. Now into 12th. Into the pits go Schwarner and Amram for their first pit stops. So this battle between Arba and KD is definitely one we've got to watch. The battle between the top two is another. Because I reckon Alp's going to attack here again. Fenrique setting fastest laps with a 1:37.1. Alp sitting in the slipstream. He's going to use DRS. Is he going to use overtake though? No. He's probably going to sit in behind Nicholas. Watch him back off the front. No, he's going to go for it here. Into turn 8. Down the inside. Nicholas tries to get a switchback. He'll be on the outside for 9. A bit of a bump there between Alp and Nicholas. Using DRS. Is he going to use overtake? No, he isn't. He's going to pull to the outside. Can he get the move done before the braking zone? Not quite. They're going to go through side by side. They give each other the space. And Nicholas comes out on top in that little exchange. Now they're coming through the third sector. Round turns 15 and 16 into turn 17. As Fenrique overtakes Lopez for P12. Alp and Nick might go one stop. You think so? Let's have a look. Yeah, they're still running. And there's Lopez off the racetrack. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this is his first time on wheels, so I'm not surprised that he's having a bit of an average race. He's just a learning experience for him right now. Though I think he probably should have picked a better racetrack to go to wheel, not Abu Dhabi. Probably a nicer racetrack to begin with. I'm going to have to look at the calendar after this just to work out what are the wheel tracks and what are the pad tracks. I'll see him at the end of the string. But here comes Alp again, attacking Nicholas. Gets it done. Into turn 8, he closes back onto the racing line, cuts off Nicholas as Tal overtakes Timmy for P4. Now Nicholas, is he going to counter-attack? It certainly looks like it, using DRS, using overtake. Coming towards the braking zone into turn 11. He's going to look around the long way. Oh, this might be a brilliant move here. The inside line for 12, but Alp has the inside line for 13 and for 14. But Nicholas is not giving up. Around the outside at 14. A great exchange there between those two. Holding it around the outside. Complete respect between the two drivers as well. There was no biffing, no barging. Just clean racing. And Nicholas comes out on top at the end of that. Absolutely fantastic stuff between these two. And we'll keep an eye on these two as well. Do they go in? No, they're going out. So I think you might be right, Bean. I think they might be doing a one-stop here. Meanwhile, battle for third raging on. Bodhod, the Stone Towel, and JD all line astern. Timmy's not too far behind. It looks like he's doing a one-stop as well in the Ferrari. Then there's Lunacy in P7, Bursey in P8. Not too far behind is P-Dog Payton. He's just outside of DRS range to Bursey. If he can get within DRS range, he might be able to introduce himself to this battle. Alp and Nick, let's watch this one on lap 10. Heading on the back straight. DRS open. Sitting in the slipstream. Looks like Alp isn't going to go for a move here into turn 8. Yeah, you can see they're backing off, just letting Nicholas have it for now. The Stone Towel overtaking Bodhod. Bodhod can't hold it around the outside. The Stone Towel into P3. And here comes Alp, counter-attacking on the next DRS zone. Alp retakes the lead. Nicholas falls behind into second. He's just going to follow Alp through the third sector, then we'll see another battle on the next lap. These three drivers all just following each other at the moment. Prezzo, the Stone Towel, leading the way. Timmy's losing time to these three. Those soft tyres are wearing out quite a bit here. It's going to be quite vulnerable to the cars behind. Arba and KD get past Payton. So Arba and KD still fairly close together, still battling it out. KD has lost a little bit of time to the Renault. And into the pits goes SWM Alp. This is a critical pit stop. What is he going on to? Now, I said the game said that the medium tyres can do 18 laps. There's 18 laps to go in this race. So, it's going to be touch and go here for Al, but he might be able to get it done as Payton retires in the pit lane. He's had enough. So that's our first retirement for this evening. Where does Alp come out? He's United Bosnia. He just gets out in front of the Swede. Gap of 1.2 seconds. Now, I'm sure Nicholas is going to reply this lap. He cannot stay out any longer on these soft tyres. He's losing time to the Stone Towel. Those soft tyres are that shocking at the moment. JD on the back of Bodhod. He's going for a move here, I'm sure. Using DRS. He has to look the long way into turn 11. Gets it done. He's into third place. Bodhod slots himself into fourth. Timmy's still going. He's got the Renaults of Bursey and Arba right behind. And this is helping out KD tremendously. He's bringing himself back into the battle with Arba. Heading underneath the hotel. Alright, keep an eye on that dark blue dot at the front of the field. I'm sure he'll be pitting, and he is. And Timmy will be pitting as well, pulling off to the side, getting well out of the way. It was very well done there from Timmy. Bit of an awkward pit entry at times, Abu Dhabi, but that was fairly well done there from those drivers. But thankfully for Arba, he's got his teammate in front, so he's not going to be completely vulnerable to KD, as both KD and Arba will have DRS. KD won't be able to slingshot past Arba at the moment. Got a gearbox glitch in the background I can hear as well. Who is that? Oh, it's Arba's car. That's okay. Here comes KD. If you're looking to overtake Burzy here, I don't think he'll be close enough to go for the send. Oh, he sticks it up the inside though, and he makes it stick. I was wrong there. He had enough momentum to get it done. And now this battle between Arba and KD will resume. Now, wow, that is quite a big gap, not going to lie. Alp in 11th place. 4.6 seconds is the gap between Alp and Nicholas after the pit stops. That undercut is ridiculously powerful around here. That's massive. He didn't have a wing change, did he? Surely not. Let's just have a quick geeze. Where are you? No, it was a regular stop. It's just the power of the undercut. That is unbelievable. However, Alp, he's a bit touch and go when it comes to tyre life. As I said, 18 laps is what the game recommends as the tyre life for the mediums. It's going to be quite the stretch. Burzy into the pits. Renault driver onto another set of mediums, so he is 100% without any shadow of doubt doing the two-stop strategy. Ram didn't even fight there. In fact, he pulled off so far down the inside of the racetrack, he probably got a warning because of that. Stone Tower getting overtaken by both Arba and KD. And you can see there the Stone Tower quite even on fuel, the yellow icon. He doesn't have a lot in reserve, so he's pushing quite hard right now. KD closing in on Arba. Around turn 9. Arba doesn't have DRS, really? Oh no, he does. It's just very difficult to see it open from KD's point of view. They're heading towards turn 11. Hard on the brakes. Round the chicane. These four fairly close together. Arba now on the back of Bodhod. These massively fresher tyres helping out Arba tremendously. Though what isn't helping him is this traffic in front. Just holding him up and bringing KD ever closer. Slams on the brakes there. Oh, and Bodhod into the wall. Fortunately for the Alfa Romeo driver, there's no damage on the car, but still. That was a heart-in-mouth moment there for Arba. That could have been quite a blah, blah, blah. God, I can't speak at the moment. Nasty incident between those two. As the Stone Tower goes into the pits. Now, is he doing a two-stop strategy? He must be. Going onto the soft compound, they won't make it. 15 laps, no, they definitely won't make it from there. KD closing in on Arba, though Arba has DRS, he's closing in on JD. Oh, he doesn't go for the move there, but he makes contact, a little bit of contact, not a lot, just a little bit, just a teeny weeny bit. There's KD just in behind as Lopez gets another penalty. Here we go, looking around the long way. Can KD follow suit? Oh, into turn 12. Oh, that was close between those two. You can see KD, he wanted to get by. He didn't want to let Arba just drive away. And as a result, JD had to cut turn 13. Probably got a warning because of that. Gap now 1.4 seconds between Arba and KD with that little exchange. Can Arba pull away from the Red Bull here? Gap is increasing just ever so steadily. Enrique on the back of Bodhod. He's got his teammate just behind. As into the pits goes JD. Williams driver in. Helping P6. Kittenpetter P7. And then there's Nicholas. Fair ways behind Alp now. That undercut has paid massive dividends for Alp. Ooh, all over the back of Kit and Peta here. To the telemetry system, no, I don't have access to it, no. Was never given access to the telemetry. But that's okay, I've got plenty of information here. The only part when the telemetry would really come into it is towards the end of the race in regards to this man and Nicholas. How close will they be to puncture territory? And if you keep locking up like that, Alp, and just destroying your front left-hand tyre, then I don't think you'll be making it if you continue doing that, my word. But let's see here, how many... It'll be a predominantly left-hand corner circuit, isn't it? So the back right tyre is going to be pounded around here at Abu Dhabi, if my logic serves me right. So yeah, that tyre on the left-hand side of screen, I believe that would be the most worn tyre out of the lot. It would either be the front right or the rear right tyre that gets pounded the most. So you turn 1, same with turn 2, a fair amount of load on those outside tyres. Then through turn 3 it sort of compensates. Turn 4 again, that outside tyre gets loaded. And through turn 5 again, hard on the brakes as well, locking up. Then you got the hairpin. So a fair amount of left-hand corners around here. So those outside tyres get fairly well used. It's going to be fairly touch and go for Alp. Wingers attacking the Stone Towel. Stone Towel's having none of it. Timmy's overtaking Lunacy as well. But there goes the Haas, slingshotting by, and woof, that Williams has got some speed and a spinner. Who is that? It's Bodhod. He has spun out. He's now got United Bosnia right on his tail, heading towards turn 11. Now Bosnia won't be close enough to attack here. Going into the chicane. So Bodhod keeps 8th place, but those tyres will be pretty well shot. And I believe Bodhod is trying to do a one-stop strategy himself. He's trying to stretch these mediums out to a soft tyre to go to the end. Quite surprised to see as well, no safety cars as of yet. Still a fair amount of racing to go, but still. From previous experiences here at Yas Marina, it's a fairly common sight to see at least 1 or 2 safety cars. Not this time. Although we have something going on in the 3rd sector. That's JD. A virtual. Hello. I open my mouth and hey presto, we've got a safety car. Not a proper safety car, we have a virtual. But JD, he'll be going into the pits. I think Kitten might go in as well. No, he's staying out. He's on fresh tyres, so of course he won't go in. Mitch might. No, he stays out as well. And no one else is really in a position to capitalise on the safety car. So you can only lose out here. And it's very easy to lose out from a virtual safety car. Not just track position, but also getting a drive-through penalty for speeding. Particularly when you go through corners like turns 8 and 9. It is so easy to go massively under the delta. And hey presto, we've got a drive-through. It's Wing It. Drive-through penalty, speeding on the VSC. It's a very easy thing to do. It's 2 drive-throughs actually. Burzy, Arbar's teammate, has got one as well, as Alp overtakes Schwarner for P3. So, yeah, quite a common sight to see and during safety car and virtual safety car periods. The delta is quite a bit difficult to manage, particularly when you're going through corners, because it drops so much through corners. Bodhod's still going. I reckon he'll be either pitting this lap or next lap. You wouldn't want to go any longer on these tyres. He's got Timmy all over the back of him. Heading into turn 17 and into the pits goes Arba. Does KD follow? No, he stays out. That might be a poor call from KD. We looked earlier at Alpoom and Nicholas making their pit stops. We saw how powerful that undercut was. Unless, of course, KD's trying to stretch to a soft stint. Which I don't know. The soft tyre, it would be great initially, but after a while those tyres really start to become quite poor. So, I don't know. We'll see what KD does at the end of the lap. But here comes Alp. He's gaining and gaining and gaining and gaining. Where will he look? Inside or outside? Inside. Straightforward move there. Into the lead of the race. Ooh, KD got very close to the gearbox of Alp there. But no harm done. Gaps aren't massively close, are they? The only close one we've got is this one here. KD's just going to lose time to Alp. Ooh, as Stonetail locks up, runs wide. He's just outside the top 10 at the moment. Now, I'm not sure what the Stonetail is going to be doing. Is he going to be doing another pit stop, or is he trying to get those to the end? It's going to be some stint on those tyres. It's going to be very much touch and go. Timmy on the back of Bosnia here. Heading around the harbour, next to the expensive yachts. And into the pits goes KD. Alp sets fastest lap with a 36.6. Now what does KD do? What are the Red Bull team doing? Is it softs? It is softs. So this is a gamble here. Peyton left the session. Our only retirement so far. Where's Arbar? Oh, he's on pit straight. He's massively ahead. Look at that. The sheer power of the undercut. Look how far ahead he is. Oh, and a spinner. That's a ram. He has crashed at turn 4. And Bosnia got a penalty for avoiding that. He sort of reacted to the car on the inside. He sort of went offline a little bit. I think you could probably get that warning removed. But a virtual safety car deployed. Our second virtual safety car and our second retirement of the race. And it's quite... I've seen that a few times here at Yas Marina, where a car uses the inside curb, puts too much steering input in, and the car just sort of rotates itself. It spins out, and he had a meet and greet with the Armco barrier, which, as you'd expect, wasn't particularly great for Amram. So unfortunately for the Ferrari driver, he is out. He will not be scoring points. So, another brief pause. DRS is re-enabled. No one's gotten a drive-through. No one's gotten a drive-through. Thumbs up. Fantastic. Because it's not a great thing to see when drivers get sort of penalised for what happens under virtual safety cars. Particularly when it's a deliberate crash. I've seen several over my time, and it's brought out safety cars and virtual safety cars that not only change the complete complexion of the race, but also give drivers drive-through penalties that they wouldn't have gotten if the driver didn't deliberately crash. But it's always nice to see that everyone gets through the safety car and virtual safety car in relatively one piece. KD on the back of Timmy. Coming through turns 5 and 6 into turn 7. Absolutely. Nicholas needs a proper safety car right now. I 100% agree with that, Bean. He needs a proper safety car. At the moment, he hasn't quite got that yet. Schwarner overtakes Timmy. Schwarner on those soft compound tyres on a charge. So is Nicholas. Gap is now 5.8, now 6 seconds, 6.3. That little battle with Fenrique has cost Nick quite a bit of time. So without a safety car, Nicholas has to gain effectively a second a lap, and that is a very tall order considering the guy he's trying to chase down, as Arbar gets a 3-second time penalty. So I think you're right, Bean. He needs a safety car, or Bean to make a mistake, or those tyres need to be in puncture territory at the end of the race. Now, if I had the TAS telemetry system, I'll be able to look at that. Unfortunately, I don't. But what I do know from the game itself, 18 laps is the sort of tyre duration for the mediums. 18. He'll be doing 18 laps on this set of tyres. So he's going to be touch and go at the end of the race, as Fenrique is in the pits. Same with the Stone Towel. I thought he might be coming in for a second stop, the Haas driver. I didn't think those soft tyres could make it to the end. But Fenrique out in 8th place. He's going to be absolutely flat out in this final stint. He's just going to drive 110%, go for those 50-50 moves and see where he finishes. I think that will be his game plan. Schwarner in a great position to finish in the top 5. If he keeps this up, he will finish in 4th place. He's got no penalties next to his name. He's set to go to the end of the race. Rather fittingly, he's in the McLaren that Carlos Sainz drove. And I haven't really been looking at Schwarner, and he's in the top 5. A bit like what Carlos Sainz would do. Sky Sports don't really give Carlos too much attention, and it seems I've done the same thing to Schwarner, and he's in 5th place at the moment. He's looking at a fantastic result. Started 7th, up 2 positions. He's looking at a very, very good result here. And KD's in a bit of trouble with that penalty. If he can't pull away from Schwarner, KD might lose out to the McLaren as Arbar sets fastest lap with a 36.6. KD replies with a 36.4. Interestingly enough, Schwarner wasn't quicker than KD on that lap, so Schwarner might just be losing a little bit of time to KD. But so long as he stays within 1 second to the Red Bull, he keeps himself in that contention to try and fight for 4th, as he actually sets a purple first sector. So Schwarner looking very quick right now. Lunacy in the pits onto a fresh set of softs. He comes out behind this battle pack between Bosnia, Tal. Bodhod's not too far in front as well. Fenrique hunting down Timmy. This is for P6. Then his next target will be Schwarner, and that's a fair amount of time he has to try and gain. It'll be a tall order, from what I've heard and what I've seen as well, as Schwarner does overtake KD on track. That's a fine overtake there as well, using DRS, getting by at turn 11. Into P4 now, can he pull away? Knowing KD, he's quite a harsh driver, he pushes hard all the time. He tends to collect a fair few penalties, but also tends to wear through the tyre pretty quickly as well. So can Schwarner capitalise on this and pull away from the Red Bull? Cement that 4th place and perhaps even take a podium. Fenrique making the move on Timmy. He's now hunting down KD, a gap of 4.6 seconds. 6 laps to go. Can he claw in that margin? All he needs to do really is gain 1.5 seconds, and then he takes 5th place away from KD. Those 3 seconds worth of penalties going to cost KD quite a bit here, as the Red Bull driver is actually going to get DRS here. He might counter-attack. Schwarner pulls off to the inside. He's trying to break the toe. KD doesn't have enough ERS to try and catch up though, and try and make a move. If he had a bit more, he might have made this move stick into turn 8, although he's not in a bad position to try and make the move stick into turn 11. Out of turn 9, through the brief kink of turn 10, Schwarner gets amazing traction on the exit. He just pulls away from KD. Red Bull has no answer to the McLaren at the moment, and Fenrique is gaining. In the meanwhile, Stone Tal is gaining on Bodhod. The battle for 9th is definitely on. Yeah, Bod did do 18 laps on the mediums, but knowing what the game is like, I don't know how it works. It's sort of, once you hit 70%, it's almost as if RNG comes into it. It's not even how you drive the car, because I've seen people, they get into the 70% range, and as soon as they hit 71%, boom, puncture. There's just no warning, no there's no sort of give or take. As soon as it hits 70%, boom, you get a puncture. But I've seen drivers carry their tyres into the 90s and they can make it to the end of the race without getting a puncture. I don't know if assists or how you drive a car come into it, as there's an incident. It is JD. He's had a similar moment to what he had. And a safety car deployed. You have got to be kidding me. Oh my goodness me. What a set of circumstances this is. So that incident with JD, that moment at turn 19, the Codemaster stewards have elected to bring out the safety car. You're joking. What a set of circumstances this is. Oh, you're joking. So this puts a different complexion on this race, doesn't it? Now, what does Alp do? Does he pit? Does he stay out? He does pit. I think Nicholas will do the same. I don't think he'll stay out. Yeah, he'll come in. Arba, I think you've got to take the chance. Arba stays out. Ooh. Oh, the strategies. Oh, this is going to be a good one. So we've got drivers staying out. We've got drivers coming in. Schwarner stays out. KD stays out. What about Fenrique? Fenrique stays out. So the only drivers who pitted were Alp and Nicholas. So they're going to lose a fair amount of track position. Alp, does he come out in front of his teammate? He does. That is critical. That is so important for the context of this race. So magically, Schwarner is now in a position where he might be able to win this thing. He's got no penalties. He's in P2. The car in front of him is on old mediums with a penalty. The car behind him is on softs, 1 lap older, with a penalty. Although the car in fourth is blindingly fast and is on fresh softs. So then we got Fenrique in P5 on softs. Nicholas on fresh softs in P6. Oh my goodness me. We're going to have a shootout here. This is just going to be a 2 or 3 lap shootout right here, right now. Entirety of the race means nothing. This is a race now, effectively. Okay. But I'm a bit cheered up because this is going to bring a fascinating end to this pretty decent race, I must say. This is one of the few times I've seen Abu Dhabi be a bit in between, where we've had good racing, some drama, some action. I very rarely see this around here. Typically, it's either incredibly boring or it's wreckfest. Really, it's one of the two. This is one of the few times where it hasn't been that and we've seen some good racing. You know. Pity it can't be like this in real life, though. It is never like this in real life with Yas Marina. Okay, so penalties. They're going to play a massive part in this now. Albar and KD, they have 3 seconds apiece. Bodhod has 6. Timmy has 3. Stonetal has 6. Kittenpeta has 3. United Bosnia has 12. He hates this safety car. Those 12 seconds are going to cost the Swede immensely here. Lunacy with 3. Mitch Burns has none. Bursley has 9. Wingen has 3. JD has 9. Lopez has 15. But for Lopez, I think it's just an experience seeing this race. So I think we'll be going back on the green flag racing at the end of this lap. So it's going to be a 2-lap shootout. No DRS available from here to the checkered flag. There's going to be no DRS. So it's going to be old-fashioned racing. It's slipstreaming and it's big boy sends here for the final 2 laps. It is the driver who is going to be the most determined is going to be winning this race. Is Alp, is he going to do those big daddy sends here at turn 8, maybe turn 11 even? Will we see those 50-50 moves made in the third and first sectors in the final 2 laps? Oh, I have no idea who is going to win this race. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. But I do believe the safety car will be in this lap. I don't think we'll be having a 1-lap shootout. Let's just see. Typically the safety car lights go out at the end of the second sector, and presto, they are out. So this is it. Abu gets to control the field. Importantly for the Renault, he has track position, though he has a penalty next to his name, which makes him vulnerable to this man. KD behind is quite an aggressive driver. He goes for those 50-50 moves every now and then, but those tyres, I imagine, would be fairly well shot, knowing his driving style. Alpum is in 4th place, the quickest of the bunch. He's on fresh tyres, but he is 3 places behind where he wants to be. He basically needs to be in front of Schwarner at the end of these 2 laps if he wants to win. Fenrique in P5, he's going to be the Great Wall of Brazil to COS Nicholas. He's going to have a hard time, Nicholas, trying to get past Fenrique. Fenrique, I imagine, is going to play the teammate role in this. So this is it. Strap yourselves in, folks. I have no idea who's going to win this. And there goes Abu. He gets a pretty good restart. Round the final corner we go. It is the final 11 kilometers of this race, the final 2 laps, and I have no idea who's going to win it. Alp gets a fantastic restart, round the outside into 1. And can he get it done? He does. That better traction on the fresher tyre, helping him out tremendously. Round turn 2, round turn 3. You can see there at turn 2, Alp was incredibly squirrely there. And here comes Nicholas, all over the back of Fenrique, and he has the inside line. KD blocks Fenrique there, not intentionally, he was just sort of forced there. But fortunately for Nicholas, he was able to get past Fenrique early. Now Alp on the back of Schwarner. Schwarner defending the inside line here. Drivers dumping their ERS. They're going to use absolutely everything. Alp looks to the inside, can't get the move done. Here comes Nicholas closing in. Gap is now 1 second between Alp and Nick, as we have some exchange in positions in the background. KD and Fenrique battling. Stone Towel and Kitten Petter battling. KD and Fenrique are side by side, heading around the back straight in quotation marks, heading into turn 11. KD with the inside line goes deep. Fenrique has to sort of avoid him, loses a bunch of time. Oh, and there's an end plate that I saw in the bottom right there of shot, just flying off in the distance. Alp has run out of ERS. He's absolutely dumped it all. He's now got Nicholas closing in. He's less than a second behind. Oh, it's Fenrique and KD. KD spins into the barrier. Oh, dear. And he drops down the order massively. He's behind Kitten Petter, who is bumping Bodhod, I believe. Almost into the wall there at turn 19. Oh, my goodness me. So this is it, the final lap. It comes down to this. The final 5.6 kilometers of this race. I still have no idea who's going to win it. Schwarner in P2. He's got track position over Alp, but Alp is on superiorly fresher tyres. Oh, and we have an incident at turn 1. That's Mitch Burns and JD coming together. And down the inside into turn 7. And JD retires on track. But Schwarner with the outside line. Oh, and a bit squirrely on the exit. They're now side by side. And here comes Nicholas. Abu with the clear air pulling away, but those 3 seconds are going to cost him. He's threading the needle here. It's going to be 3 wide into turn 8. Alp with the inside line. Can he get it done? They make contact, a little bit of contact between the Mercedes and McLaren. Gets the switchback, does COS Nicholas. They're going to be 3 wide again. Round turn 10. Heading towards a heavy braking zone of 11. It might be the final opportunity for any of these 3 drivers. Here we go, into 11. The big send from Nicholas. Down the inside. He pushes Schwarner. Schwarner's having none of it. They're still side by side, heading into the 3rd sector. This is it. It all comes down to this. Schwarner gets a penalty. He cut the corner there at turn 14. That will cost him dearly. And Nicholas now finds himself in the position that he might be able to win this. Alp now in 4th place behind Schwarner. Hang on. Abu's now got a 3.3 second lead. I haven't even noticed this. Abu might snatch this. Round the final corner. This is going to be close. Here we go. Crossing the line. It's 2.8, 2.9, 2.8. It is Nicholas at the line. Oh my goodness me. Just over 2.5 tenths separating the top 2 in the end. Alp will cross the line in third. His teammate Fenrique in P4. And Schwarner with that penalty, he finishes in P5. I didn't even see Alvar there. He did a mega final lap to pull out that margin. Granted, the cars behind were battling quite a bit, but still, what a finish to a race that was. Nicholas just comes out on top. Oh my goodness me. And then we'll just have to wait on United Bosnia to cross the line. He's just sort of slowly making his way around the racetrack. What a finish to a race that was, wasn't it? My word. But here we go, the position change. Who will get driver of the day from this? To Lunacy up 8 positions, the Stone Towel up 9 positions, finishing, both of them finishing inside the top 10. I guess I'll have to give it to one of these two, I imagine. I imagine the game will give it to the Stone Towel. But my word, what a performance from these guys right at the end of the race. And Nicholas, Alp and Schwarner, that was some racing between those three. They were properly scrapping it out. Absolutely, absolutely insane that was. Oh my goodness me. Oh my goodness me. But there we go, COS Nicholas. Bet he wasn't expecting this. 90% of the race, he was probably thinking, P2's probably what I'm going to get here. In the end, he ends up winning. Arba finishes in second place, with SWM Alp finishing in P3. Wonder what those two drivers are thinking right now. Wonder what they're thinking right now. Was it the smart idea to go and make the pit stop? I wonder. Because that pit stop put both Nicholas and Alp in a position where they might not have won that. That is a very close margin in the end. Nicholas, he'd be satisfied because he won, but that pit stop may have cost him victory here. But regardless, he got it by 0.2 of a second. Not much between the top two. Alp in P3. Fenrique P4, Schwarner P5. Oh, he was in a chance for a podium there, but that penalty really hurt him at the end. Fenrique got fastest lap as well. Timmy, a fine drive in P6. Kids and Petto P7. Lunacy in P8. Driver of the day, the Stone Towel. P18 to P9. That's a pretty solid drive, to say the least. KD, what could have been, finishing 10th after what happened on that those final chaotic few laps. He finishes just inside the 10. Berzzi in 11th. Bodhod in 12th. Lopez 19th to 13th, kept out of trouble, didn't retire the car. He ends up finishing in P13. Mitch Burns in 14th, United Bosnia in 15th. Our other drivers, Wingett, JD, Amram and Peyton, drivers who didn't finish this race. So Wingett and JD are classified as they met up with the 90% finishing rule. Oh. Whew. But man, oh man, that was a race. Oh. We got the drama bit. We got that nailed down with Abu Dhabi. Man, that was a good finish to that race. And although that finish made that race, I have to say it was pretty good for the most part. There was some really good racing in between, particularly between Nick and Alp. They battled each other quite nicely at the beginning there. We saw that brilliant overtake Nicholas made around the outside of Alp. And considering the caliber of driver and the fact that he managed to do it around the outside, that's quite a good overtake. And we also had battles in the midfield. We had some drama here and there, and then it all just exploded on the final 2 laps. Oh, fantastic. But well done, Nicholas. Made the most of the safety car period at the end, and he ended up taking the win. Arba, man, you were that close. You were this close to taking the W, but fortunately he fell short. And Alp, a fine drive, but he ended up finishing in P3. But Formula 1 and racing in general is like that. Sometimes it really doesn't go your way. But I think that might just conclude round 4 of the championship. Now, next round is Japan, Suzuka. And that is definitely a wheel circuit. Okay, that I was talking about that earlier with Bean. Definitely a wheel track, Suzuka. High-speed bends, a lot of high-speed bends. Quite a narrow, sort of traditional racetrack, where you have road and then grass and then gravel trap. There's no sort of circuit and then runoff area. It is grass and gravel trap. So I think for Lopez, if he puts in the time, he'll find Suzuka a bit more comforting, though Suzuka at the best of times is not the easiest racetrack at all. Then looking forward into the season, we have Bahrain. Bahrain, I think, it's definitely a assist circuit, so anyone who isn't using assists are going to struggle there. Australia, it's a bit of a 50-50. Austria, I would think it's probably more in favour to a pad track, Austria almost. Spain, definitely a wheel circuit. Azerbaijan, probably a pad circuit. And then Mexico, probably a wheel circuit. So we got a nice split in terms of wheel favourite tracks and pad favourite tracks, I would think, for the rest of the season. But looking forward to next week. The Japanese rounded the championship at the Suzuka International Racing Course. But no, it's been a very fine week indeed. A fine race for the championship. But I think that will end this stream. Thank you everyone so much for watching. I've been the Smeg. And we'll see you all next week for round 5 of the AM1 Championship on Contest of Speed at the Suzuka International Racing Course. Until then, goodbye.